Hola, mi gente bella. Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here with una querida amiga and an amazingly talented colleague as well. So, everyone, please welcome Ilona Pamplona. Hola,
Hola,
Ilona.
hola.
So happy to have you here. So, my people, she's been here before. She's a fabulous astrologer. She is also a human design expert. She's written a fabulous book. And can you give me the title? Because I know
Yeah, it's
part of.
called it's Human Design Made Easy coming out in December.
Yes, Human Design Made Easy. And then you also have your other book.
This journal is your mood ring.
This journal is your mood ring. I was there last year in Miami. We were there in the house celebrating your book launch, and you have another one coming out. So I invited Ilona because I was like, I want to share her with the world because I know her. And I just want to give a little backup too. It's so hard out here in these internet streets. I've been out here in the internet streets 12 years, and there's so many people who so desperately desire the fantasy life of working online, and they will make it all up, they will bullshit, they will copy, they will emulate, they will do all the things. And what I found with my friend Ilona, like, she's the real deal. She's authentic, she's loving. And then, so I gotta talk about you, girl. I gotta talk about you. And then another thing that I love about her, that she is that person who is like giving you flowers in rooms that you're not in. Like, she is speaking about you in rooms that you are not in. That is not as common as you all would think, because people out here get desperate. They want the clients for themselves and they want all the light and all the thing. And one of the things I adore about Ilona is that she is not like that. She doesn't feel that way. She'll be like, Vanessa, here's that. Come on, da 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 da. And so I wanted to thank her, although I do talk about her too to my clients, but I wanted to thank her by highlighting her today. And so I know that so many of you trust me and trust like that I'm authentic. I want you to know that this is who I trust, okay? Not only as a friend, not only as a generous, beautiful human being and a kind, loving, like full of integrity human, but also as an expert in what she does and as an honorable being. So, yes, enough kudos to you, and we love you.
You.
Um, so, Ilona, I know that you have been focused a lot on astrology and human design. You did the book, and now you're going into a whole new arena, right? Like, I had a beautiful session with you, and that's why I wanted you on here. Can you tell me what this arena is, what you're calling it, and why you came to it? Because I think all of us as business owners, or even just as humans in our lives, we do things for a certain time, we love it, then we could add to it. There's a time in our lives where we're called to expand in different ways. So can you share with us this journey for you?
Absolutely. So first of all, thank you so much. I adore you and I appreciate you so much. And what I feel like it's so interesting because what I'm doing right now is a training I just completed called the Genius Report training, which takes human design, puts it into a context. I kind of call it like professional human design that you can use in the workplace, human design that you can work for your business, because human design can be used as it stands, but it's not really the main focus of how everyone applies it into their wisdom or to their services. And so it also, like, I almost call it like the woo woo version of a strengths finder, because also in human design and astrology we have detriments, we have things that we're like, okay, this is never going to work out for you because this is square this or the blah blah blah. And this assessment takes human design and puts it into what is possible in your life, and how do we understand how your energy shows up in projects, your business, your workplace. Hey, you're thinking of you don't maybe you're not sure about what you're doing with your work. Maybe you're not sure what parts of your talents and where you can apply that is, and it really clarifies that. And so I took a training. A friend told me about it in February of this year. I was like, I'm signing up. I took the training, and the training made me realize, even for my business, that I get to pivot based on what was revealed to me in this interpretation of this work.
Mm, I love that. I love that. And sometimes I found that some people think that we're going to step into something and do it forever, right? And I've
Mhm.
been reading people since I'm 16, But the thing, to be honest with you, if I had to just read people every day, I'll be bored because it's not my makeup. It's like I have to create and make things and do different things. So for anybody listening out there, because I know my mom was like, "Eres un abanico." She was like, "You're a fan. You have all these things all the time." She's like, "Focus on one," you know. She was really always telling me that I'm like this fan that opens up and has so much. But I was like, but even if I study astrology today and then I do this and then I do, it somehow comes in together, you know. So people are afraid to expand, to maybe be seen as not serious if they do more than one thing. What do you say to that?
You know, I think it's sometimes, there's so many things I can say to that. Like, I think about my specific genius report, and one of the messages was like, even like, I don't remember the exact terminology, but it was for me, I took away the sense of even if I'm interested in something new, it doesn't mean I need to abandon what was. It's that I can integrate that, and like every new thing I do just evolves what I am creating. So it's not like, oh, I found this, I'm abandoning everything and moving on to the next thing. Now, it's also, I also think about human design and how we talk about, you know, 75%, 70% of the population has a sacral authority. And so there are going to be moments that you're like, here I am, and then here I'm not. Your energy is going to light you up in different places. And so also, can you learn to trust yourself to follow the spark or follow the intuition or follow the instinct and trust yourself, even if you're an abanico, whether you're an abanico or not? Can you trust yourself to just even experiment with being that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's so it's so true. And one of the things that I liked when you worked with me with my genius report, I mean, everything that you said like felt true. And I remember when I first found out that I was a generator back, like, I don't know, a couple of years ago, I was like, oh, I'm just like everybody else. Right. Like I
Yeah.
was, you know, there are a couple of other of us who are online teaching a lot of classes and doing things that we all felt the same. Like when we talk about it, we're all like, you know, we're like this. But then we're like, well, Oprah also is a generator. And I think, I don't know who else, like many other people.
Well,
And
most people are. 70% of the population is. Most of your favorite famous people are generators or manifesting generators.
and then also like being friends with you, like you tell me, well, girl, but you have that motor, like you're going to New York, you come back, you don't even nap, you go over here. And so I started to really just enjoy. And I'll tell you something else that I want to thank you. You also talked to me about kitchens at some point, like being in an environment of a kitchen. And I was on a film set, you know, as doing an extra as a commercial. And I did that in my early 20s and I was a casting assistant. And those are areas where like I thrive and having all these people do all these different things. And there's some people who cannot. They're like, I'm not going to be on a set for freaking 10 hours. It's overwhelming. There's a lot happening, right? And I need my alone time too. But I thought of you Sunday morning when I was at a commercial, and I hadn't been an extra in like decades because I used to do it a lot and also hire the extras. And I was like, oh, this is in its own way a kitchen, you know, and that I do a lot of theater. That is a kitchen practice, improv practice, creation. And so thank you for that. And I think with the what you did for me too is like we talked about product development and I didn't think about that too much. I just did it. But product development is not just a class, it's also, I think, the mastery of a thing, right? And so for me, when we talked about that, I said, it makes sense. I will continue to focus and focus and focus on something to refine it and refine it, but I don't know that I'm doing that until
Mhm.
like I'm satisfied and it'll still keep growing. And so you gave me a lot of support around that of going, oh, okay, because it doesn't feel hard for me to do that. Can you talk to us about how the genius zones don't feel hard for us when we're in alignment with it?
Oh, absolutely. I think, we've been conditioned to make what we're here to do an effort and hard and something that maybe is outside of what we're good at. And I think what the Genius Report reminds us is that sometimes that which is easy to you is actually the gift. And it's interesting because in this methodology, the Genius Report, the talent comes with wounds, right? So it's like, for example, I'm a dissemination wound, which I'm here to like tell the high heavens everything that I like. If I like something, I need everyone to know about it. I need to tell the world. And there's a lot of part of me at times that contracts because there's part of me that goes, oh, no, I don't want to. I don't want criticism. I don't want to not live up to expectations, but yet the core gift is everyone's like, oh, you're so good at, like you said, like I'll speak about people. I don't have a problem sharing what I know and who I know, and like spreading the word lights me up. And yet I know that when it comes to my work, part of it is I did that because of core wound, but it actually is so easy to share when I'm connected, when I know what I'm here to say, and I'm in the flow. And a lot of us, when we don't realize that that flow state is the hit of the gift, and then we have these core wounds that kind of contract us from expanding that gift and just seeing how magic happens from that flow state, from what comes so naturally.
I love that so much. I don't remember my core wounds, but I know from being a generator, like people will seek me out to kind of use me as their engine. And when I was younger, I was in startups and things like that where I was the workhorse. And anything that anybody would throw at me, I would figure it out. I would do it. I could do it for 15 hours. I would do it. I would run here on sets, running a business, like running somebody, helping run somebody else's business until I was so unhappy. And I was like, and then it hit me like, you can do this for yourself. But would you say that that's true, like for a generator, that sometimes they get plugged into other people's dreams and their energy is almost like siphoned, or it's used to run other people's stuff?
Well, yeah. So it's interesting because that's actually the gift of having a sacral is you bring the energy to a team, to a project, to a group, and at the same time, the moments that you're feeling depleted is a hit. That energy, that engine, that backup motor that's there for you is not aligned with something in the dynamic, and so there's that where it's like you can go, go, go. But when you're depleted, there's something there telling you, and of course, everyone deserves to take a break, right? So we don't want to condition generators to always be on. But in the things where you're like, hey, I really used to like this and now it doesn't light me up, there gets to be an exploration of what in this is it the people? Is it the experience? Did something change? Am I just not aligned anymore? Because that's also part of that generator energy. Like it's an in the moment, second by second, day to day, instant to instant, on and off switch in that motor. And so it doesn't always go on, but when it starts going off, that's it. That's something there is no longer a yes.
I love that. And what would you say for, like, I don't know if you want to share a little bit about everybody, like for a manifester for yourself.
What about the manifestor, the energy levels? Well,
Like, no, like when you, because for the generator, when something is not, it's like we get that hit that something,
aligned.
how does the manifester know that it's not in alignment?
Oh, well, all of the designs will have what we call our signature and our not self-signature. So a generator will know. So I'll go through them, but like the generator will know because they start slowing down, but also they start getting frustrated. And so a manifester will feel like at peace when they're well and off. Like there'll be a sense of like anger. So I joke, I am an emotional manifestor. So, my roommate jokes, she's like, "Whoa." She saw me get mad at something once. She's like, I've never seen this and I never want to see it again. And I don't want to see this towards me. I'm like, yeah, I'm very like, because I do the work, I'm aware and I stay in my peace. The moment something triggers me, because I go, everyone's shocked. Everyone gets so shocked when I'm mad because it's like 100. But I regulate myself to not get there, right? And not access the anger, because the other thing about, here's a beautiful thing. I was actually talking to my book agent who's also a manifester, and she had a moment of anger the other day, and she was upset. She's like, I'm upset that I'm here. And I'm like, no, no, no. We don't get to be upset that we're angry, because that is the awareness. Like anger, if I'm angry, I'm like, okay, something here is off. And I get to process the emotion, and then I get to be aware where the alignment gets to happen. So if a projector will get bitter. I have projector friends that get nasty. Like I joke, I love them, and I tell them like, you girl, you get nasty when you're misaligned. And because projectors need recognition. Projectors need to be seen. And so there's that sense of like when they're not seen, they will push so hard from recognition from the right place, because their signature is success. And so they want to win. They want things to be, they want to lead people and opportunities, and when they're not being seen, they get nasty.
I think I have tons of projectors around me, so you
Yeah.
know.
And so all of us will have that moment when we're like, woof, that's off. We need to realign.
Absolutely. I love that. And what is the connection? And maybe you've answered in some way, and somehow I didn't get it because I'm not an expert in this, but what is the connection with human design and then the genius report? Like, how does,
Yeah. So human design, I always, people used to ask me, well, what's the difference between astrology and human design? Da, da. Like for me, when we look at what's the intention? So when we look at the intention of astrology, it's astrologos, the story of the star. It literally is Greek for the story of the stars. Human design, it's an experiment, because it was originally called the human design experiment, to say, here's an experiment on how your energy works to really align with the world around you, yourself and the world around you. And Gene Keys goes, hey, let's take the understanding of that energy and really put out your genius, so that you're applying the gifts of your energy into these collaborative workspaces and projects, or your entrepreneurship, so that you can actually max it. So it's taking core human design work, repackaging a little, you can use in the workplace, right? So instead of, for example, one of the like channels are some of our gifts and talents. I have what's called the channel of struggle in human design, and they call it the design of being stubborn. And when you read that, you're like, oh, that's not interesting, that's not cool. But when you look at it from the Gene Keys perspective, they call it having the talent of optimism and fighting spirit. So so instead of saying, hey, you're really stubborn and things are a struggle for you, it's able to say, hey, but you bring the gift of the person who's always going to bring optimism, and they're not going to give up. They're going to be like, how are we going to make this happen? So it really takes the core principles of human design into the gifts that we bring
I
into the
love,
world, into the project.
I love that so much. One of the things that you shed light on, I just pulled up my little genius report when you were talking about development, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that really like it made me start to look at all of my work, my classes, my sessions. I'm like, oh my God, this is a gift. You know what I mean? And of course, like you said, we ignore ourselves, like we ignore what comes naturally to ourselves. And even though I know about that, because I always say that the eagle is flying over, the world and the mountains. And it's not like I have really cool wings, check me out,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
what it does. Like I've been teaching that for a long time. I'm like, just like our intuition, our abilities. But when you started to share with me, like, that I'm passionate about development, I start to look at all of my business in that way. And I was like, oh my God, that is so important. Like, obviously, I care about transformation, I care about all these things, but I actually do get really excited about developing ideas and developing things. Some people love to just have the ideas. I love to see them like grow. And so that really, really helped me in our session, and even like who I can work with, right? Like working
yeah.
with a person or working with communities or working with organizations. Of course, I didn't know that from experience, but it's like you highlighted in the Genius Report, and I was like, okay, I get it. So that really
That
helped.
that really is what I had. I really had a aha moment when in the course I realized that we all have a talent. We're supposed to put in a certain dynamic, and that will unlock our prosperity. And I had this talent of sharing the word, but I had been placing it in the wrong places, right? There's this idea of like, some of us are here to work on our own. Like literally, some of us can be little hermits, tinkering, never not that we never come out from the cave, but some of us really need that really focused, dedicated alone time to do work on something on our own. Some of us need one other person and be like, hey, you're my tag team in this business. You're my tag team on this project. Some of us came here to be like, hey, I work in small groups that make me feel like family. Some of us are like, hey, I'm doing my thing. Let's do these mini little things and get and work in a network rather than like cooperatively, like officially. Some people are like, hey, you know what? I really need the structure of a 9 to 5. I need the structure of something bigger than me so that I can, this is where my talent will develop. And some of us are more like, situation. So I'm situationally flexible. I can do all of it, but it's what I want at that time. So sometimes I'm like, hey, I might need a part-time job. Sometimes I'm like, hey, you know what? I want to collaborate. And so when we know what our talent is and when we're putting it, and then the money will flow, right? A lot of us are going to business, to entrepreneurship, to jobs for the money. And we ignore that we have a talent that gets to be placed in the right places in order for that money to be unlocked.
Oh, I love that. Say it again. We have a talent that gets to be placed in the right places in order for our money to be unlocked.
Yeah. So a lot of us are going straight to the money and going, hey, I just need the money. So I'll do whatever, wherever. But what people don't understand is the energetics of when you understand your gifts and you put it in the right container, the money will flourish. But we're bypassing the use of the gifts in the right container often for the sake of just thinking that the money is the first tier of unlocking all of that magic.
Oh my God, I love that so much. I love it so much. And I feel like our session gave me some clarity because I'm in I pulled away a little bit from teaching
Yeah.
last because I had taught so much online since 2012, but then taught so much 2020, 2021, 2022. And then I moved into creativity, which remember you had encouraged me to move towards creativity. And it can be scary to let go of money sources that have proven themselves to be consistent for you, right? I've supported myself in this business for 12 years and it was like, okay, I'm going to sacrifice making a ton of money right now or a lot, what I call a lot, um, to just follow my bliss and see where it goes. And in some instances, when I follow my bliss, it turns into a money-making thing, like my actual business and then improv. The performing thing I've gotten paid, but it's not like a lot of money yet.
Yeah.
But I think, can we speak to, trusting ourselves enough, and we're all different, of course, to sometimes be in limbo because that's hard for us, especially business people and people who have to support themselves through their work. It's hard to be in limbo when you don't have another job. So, I mean, I still made enough to cover the things, my bills, but it wasn't like, "Woo, make it rain" like before, to give myself the space to discover something else, which was very healing. I mean, can you speak to that about how do we tap into that courage to trust that if we go towards what makes us happy, that we will eventually also have the
Oh,
abundance?
absolutely. And this is, what I love about working with these tools is I believe that these tools are the indications of trust, but we still get to be in the spirit of trust, right? So, like, in human design, we have what's called the strategy and authority. Every aura type has the way. So you may not hear this in traditional ways, but in my book, the way I call the strategy is this is how you manifest, and your authority is how you trust the choice and the path of manifestation. So, for example, generators can either be pure generators or emotional generators. So you're either going to trust your gut in the moment, every day, every second, or you're going to need to trust yourself when you're emotionally neutral, right? You get to see that emotions are coming up and wait for that emotional clarity to be like, okay, I can go there, right? And so we have these tools. Even these tools are reminders to either go for it or trust the timing instead of just getting the answers, right? Because we're always looking outside of ourselves for the sign. And like, listen, the universe is going to send you the penny from your dad or the butterfly in the unexpected moments, but that's an external validation of trust. And these systems are telling us trust your energy. Your energy is leading you. All of our energies work differently, and they're all leading us to the right place. But what happens is we've been conditioned to trust this thing, this brain, this tangible physical mass in between our eyes that's connected to our nervous system. And that is going to make us be safe, but it's not always going to allow us to expand. And so it's that energy in your body, depending on your type, that's going to say, yeah, I know it doesn't make sense, but let's play with it. It's called the human design experiment, right? Experiment with your energy and give yourself the opportunity to go through the process and learn to trust yourself.
Yes, I love that so much, so much. So, how do people book a session with you, and what is the process, right? For everybody to know.
Yeah, so this is something that I'm launching just right now. I don't even have the site ready. Probably by the time this is published, maybe by then the site will be ready because I'm just in it. I'm trusting that I have this urge and I'm going for it. So they can find me on Instagram or they can find my email on my website and email me there. I'm doing one-off genius report sessions or 3-session packages because some of us get the awareness and we can run with it. That's what, this is like a quick distinction, right? A lot of people go to readings or birth chart sessions or these kind of sessions, or even like you go to professional developments and they tell you about your type and whatever assessment it is. That's just the awareness. We get to do something with that awareness. So I also am offering a 3-session package. So if you want to do a little bit more with that awareness and kind of put a plan together, you can do that too. So you can either just get your dose of awareness or you can get a dose of awareness with some support along the way.
I love this so, so much. And so people get to go to your Instagram, they get to book you there. And honestly, like I said, our session was very supportive, it was very validating. It made me go, because I think at some point you said, like, I work well with another person. But the truth is, all of my business is really built alone. So you were like, but look out to work with other people. And when I do work with other people, I really enjoy it. But I was like, I've always felt that, but haven't really met that person to actually do that in 12 years. But I'll do collaborations. So that kind of highlighted it for me, like, okay, there's still possibilities that that could happen. Or even in the way that you said, like, I'll be hired by somebody to just come in and teach a class, right? Manifest House or here, we come in into these spaces. So yeah, there's just so many beautiful ways to work.
Well, it's interesting because I just did a session for someone yesterday who also said that because their highest was in business with one other person. They're like, I've been trying for like 15 years and I haven't found the person. I'm like, amazing that you keep on seeing that you want to be pulled towards that partnership and the right partner hasn't evolved, but it doesn't mean that that dynamic is wrong, right? Because we create these stories that, oh, well, I've tried and it didn't work, so that must not be right, right? And at the same time, it is an experiment because you also have working in networks, which is like being invited by things like Manifest House. We have multiple dynamics that work for us. We just have ones that are like the best use. And sometimes it's just an experiment of finding that right environment to put those talents in.
I love it so much. So where can everybody find you? Where can they write you?
At
Find
Ilona Pamplona, everywhere at Ilona Pamplona on Instagram, Facebook, email ilona@ilonapamplona.com. So we try to keep it consistent.
it. I love it. So, mi gente hermosa, please like go to her, follow her, book a session or book the 3. Like I said, she brought a lot of light and a lot of awareness, validation, and support. So many times I felt a little alone in my journey just because I was one of the first people to be doing like readings and teaching and writing and speaking all at the same time in 2012, 2013. Now there's so many of us doing this, and we're all different. And we need the healers and the teachers of the world, and the readers need our own oracle and our own guidance and our own love. So thank you so much, Ilona. We love you. I love you. Mwah. Mi gente, I'll see you soon. Bye, everyone.